We're waiting for remarks from Senate Leader McConnell. Joining us now, Scott Martin, Deirdre Bolton, Ashley Webster, while we wait for the Senator. We're going to walk up to the opening of the market, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's the plan.
Are we taking a break?
No.
Oh, we killed the break. Oh,
yeah,
here we are.
There's some money we're not making. Don't worry about that. Hey, Scott, let's sum it up like this, shall we? The impeachment vote is of no consequence whatsoever for the market, except if it helps President Trump win next year.
Agree. And I think that's what the market's telling you, Stuart, this whole time. I mean, ever since the impeachment hearings got underway, the markets did this slow drift up, this what me worry attitude. This is a sideshow. This is something that's driving home the need to have somebody like President Trump again in the White House in November of 2020. And so that's what the markets are seeing as a realization. And I think that's why they're rallying today, in fact.
Now, look, in about 3 minutes' time, we're expecting to hear from Leader McConnell, Senate Leader McConnell. I'm sure he will address what amounts to a delay by the Speaker in sending the articles of impeachment to the Senate. He is the Senate leader. He's going to have something to say about that. But why do you think, Laura, why do you think, Deirdre and Ashley, why would the Speaker do this? Why talk about delay the moment after the vote is taken? Ash?
Trying to drag it out as long as possible. We talked about it earlier with Liz Peek. It's like, it makes no sense because, you know, you got Joe Biden, you got Senate candidates in the Democratic primary who are going to be held up with this instead of out on the campaign trail. It's trying to drag it out and give the president as big a black eye as possible for as long as they can go up till November of next year. And it's not working. It's backfiring. Just look at the polls.
Yes, it will backfire.
Oh, yes.
You don't drag out the trashing of the presidency for political reasons.
And it's clearly
if you do, you'll pay a political price.
Right. I think initially even Nancy Pelosi didn't even want to go down this road at all because love her or hate her, she is a very savvy operator. She knew that this was going to be bad for the party. And many sources told us she was more or less backed into it. But now that she's there, she's there. What I think is very interesting is if you look at the markets, I mean, look at these futures. We seem as if we're going to open, if not matching Tuesday's highs, pretty darn near close. And if you look at the past 6 sessions, we're up 5. I mean, investors are really not taking this impeachment vote to heart at all.
It doesn't seem like it. It really doesn't. Scott, I know I've asked you this question before. I asked all of our market guests this, but do you see this rally running on into next year?
I do. I believe it's going to run at least into the first quarter because we've got this momentum building. We've got bonuses being paid at the end of the year, other things that happen kind of just historically or seasonality that tend to do well for the market after a good finish like we're going to have. I will tell you, though, to the point some of the panels already made, you know, there's some uncertainty laying ahead with respect to certainly as things get going again on the campaign when we refocus, say, on the campaign trail. So there's probably going to be some volatility that comes back in, but I think we're clear sailing at least for the next 30 to 60.
Now, tonight, there will be the next debate. I think it's the 6th Democrat debate. There are 7 candidates on the stage tonight. I'm pretty sure all of them favour much higher taxes, some form of Green New Deal, some form of re-regulation of business. I think when investors see that, that's the choice of candidate available. I don't think that makes them very popular. No. I think enhances Trump's position.
Although the only one not participating is Michael Bloomberg.
Yes. And I keep thinking that maybe Mr. Bloomberg is the man who gets the nomination. Just maybe. He's got the money. Here we go. They're clanging the bell. They're cheering and shouting. And it is 9:30, and the market is now open. This is Thursday morning. This is the day after the impeachment vote, which took place late yesterday, and, of course, the day after President Trump's resounding response. OK, we're off, we're running, and the Dow right now opening up nearly, oh, there you go, it's up 42 points, OK? On the right-hand side of your screen, that is the Senate, where Mitch McConnell will be making a statement shortly. But let's have a look at this. OK, that's the chaplain who is calling the Senate to order with the prayer to begin things. The S&P has opened up 3 points, a fraction of 1%. The Dow is now up 51, and the Nasdaq has reached 8,841, up another 14 points. I'm not sure if that's the all-time high, but it's got to be pretty close.
And if it closes, you know, above, just slightly above that, it would be the 6th day in a row, right, for the Nasdaq.
I just got to keep on on pounding
as the impeachment process
precisely
on.
Precisely.
Yes.
As the impeachment process grinds on,
yes.
What have you got? Another market rally right from the get-go. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you can follow it. We're up 62 points now for the Dow Industrials. How about Tesla? Did it open at an all-time high? Yes, it did. $400 a share. Well, all right, $399.68. We'll take it. Apple. Now show me Apple, please. Approaching record territory, yet very close. It has been at 280. Now it's at 279.83. Same story with Microsoft. Very close to its all-time high, 154.42 as we speak. Impeachment, as you can see, absolutely no impact on this market that I can see. No impact whatsoever. I think we can all agree on that one. This morning, we've got this delay in sending the articles of impeachment to the Senate. I don't think that helps the Democrats' position. I don't think that helps them win next year. And as you can see, Leader McConnell is going to be addressing the Senate very shortly. But we now have the stock market in record territory right after the impeachment vote last night. Scott, what do you have to add to this?
Stuart, you know, this makes me think of a couple things. I mean, if we look back in history, we've had these distractions in Congress before that have maybe settled a sitting president. And it's something that the market ends up voting on. It's something that when the market ends up voting on, that's good for America if it's a good vote. In the sense of today, and as we've seen the last couple weeks, the market is saying this is a sideshow. This doesn't matter. The voters are going to do better if Trump stays in power. Obviously, that helps him in 2020, and that's why I think you're seeing the stocks respond well.
It's a huge vote of confidence from the market for this, and it has been for a while now. I mean, let's be honest. They obviously believe it's going nowhere, which we know it's not, and the economy continues to move on, and it's helping the president. I think we talked about the backlash. To me, the market believes that Donald Trump's in the lead, and especially if this is the strategy of the Democrats.
Let me go back to that survey from the investment firm RBC. It shows a majority of investors expects President Trump to win re-election next year. Look at that, 76%.
So, yeah, 76% is obviously a very strong percentage, but I think even what's more interesting is the difference in just 3 months' time, right? 66% to 76% in basically the past 3 months. So you have investors responding to RBC saying, listen, the president has been great for the stock market, great for the economy.
And that 3-month period coincided with the beginning of the impeachment process. I see from the screen that we're going up some more.
And the NASDAQ, another all-time high, by the way.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, another all-time high. So, I hear voices there. OK, they've still not got to Mitch McConnell yet. When we get to him, we're going to hear what he's got to say. Scott, does it surprise you that 76% of investors surveyed by RBC think the market's going up? Or, I'm sorry, that President Trump will win?
No, because they're buying. I think they're the ones that are buying, which are a lot of people are doing these days, Stuart. I mean, they better hope that Trump wins because, as we've seen from the Democratic side, a lot of the proposals are not very stock market friendly. I'll tell you, though, I mean, gosh, guys, look at some of these numbers. We're closing in on a couple of major milestones. You got Dow 30,000, which is in major reach now, and NASDAQ 10,000, which is absolutely incredible to think about those two numbers coming together maybe sometime in the next 6 months, maybe even 3 months. OK, we're waiting for the leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell. In the meantime, I'm going to show you as many stocks as I can on this record-breaking day. Look at this. This is Tesla. That stock is up 18% this calendar year. It opened at an all-time high of $400 a share. It's on a tear.
Yeah.
You know,
it's unbelievable.
It keeps on going up.
Hasn't been this high since the infamous funding secured tweet by Elon Musk. Look, there's a couple of things. They actually made a profit in the third quarter, which is good, and a lot of eyes towards China. That analysts say they believe that the production ramp in China will be smooth. We know that they've just reduced the prices of their basic model in China, and all of this is giving the analysts reason for optimism. Yeah. You know, their market valuation now ahead of GM and Ford, which which is fascinating.
It sure is. By the way, I'm using my phone here to just look at some stocks that are up on this record-breaking day. I've got Facebook at $204 per share. Even Twitter is up. It's at $32 a share. That's up 1% today. Tesla, as we said, $3.99 right there.
Incredible.
I'm looking across the board here. I'm looking at, what have I got here? Microsoft is up 27 cents, 154. I've got Google is up $4. Apple has reached 280. Microsoft 154 right there. And Mitch McConnell is now speaking. He said, go ahead. What's he said? He says toxic rage is setting a new precedent for impeachment. I think the man is right. Let's listen in briefly, please.
And what it will mean for the Senate to do ours. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start with the fact that Washington Democrats made up their minds to impeach President Trump since before he was even inaugurated. Here's a reporter in April of 2016. April of 2016. Donald Trump isn't even the Republican nominee yet, but impeachment is already on the lips of pundits, newspaper editorials, constitutional scholars, and even a few members of Congress. April 2016. On Inauguration Day, 2017, the headline in the Washington Post, "The campaign to impeach President Trump has begun." That was day one. In April 2017, 3 months into the presidency, a senior House Democrat said, "I'm going to fight every day until he's impeached." That was 3 months into the administration. In December 2017, 2 years ago, Congressman Jerry Nadler was openly campaigning.
Okay, now the leader of the Senate has not yet addressed the idea that articles of impeachment will be delayed going to the Senate. Speaker Pelosi said yesterday, right after the vote, a delay in sending those articles of impeachment to the Senate because she wants to get a fair trial. An extraordinary statement. We'll get back to Mitch McConnell when he addresses that delay. Meantime, we still have a record-breaking stock market for you. Dow Industrials are up 54 points, 53 points, 28,300 just about. Earlier, we had a whopping great big new high for the NASDAQ composite. That means technology stocks all over again are doing well. Can we get that board up, which we've got all the big-time technology stocks, please? Because I'm pretty sure they're doing well. Which is really extraordinary because they have just gone up constantly.
Yeah, they've already led the way.
If the NASDAQ were to close right now, this would be the 6th consecutive day of records.
For the NASDAQ?
Yeah.
That's really 8,800. Left-hand side of the screen. I'll do this for the benefit of our radio listeners. Apple is at $280.95. It is up $1.25. Google is up $3. Amazon actually down 5. But look at Facebook, powering ahead to $205 per share. By the way, Facebook will run ads on the Super Bowl. They will feature Sylvester Stallone and Chris Rock. Two big names for Facebook at the Super Bowl. What else you got on that?
First time ever that they've actually bought time in the Super Bowl. And, you know, Facebook has had a very rough year, 2 years, we could say. So they're trying to promote this Facebook groups functionality. So they're willing to spend for that 30-second spot.
Hey, Scott, I think you own, what is it, Facebook?
Facebook, yes.
And I don't think you're going to sell, are you?
No, through all the slings and arrows from the government, we've held on, and we've been, I think, happily rewarded, our clients and ourselves. I'll tell you what's interesting, though, talking about a Facebook ad on the Super Bowl. You know, this is a company that dominates digital and mobile, and they're going to, like, traditional. So maybe there's a plan in there somewhere, but I still like the name because they do dominate advertising.
Okay, I'm going to deal with a couple of other stocks whilst we're waiting for some announcement from Mitch McConnell on this possible delay. We've got Netflix and Disney. Look at them, please. A new report says Netflix lost 1 million subscribers after Disney launched its Disney Plus.
Yeah, this is coming out from Cowen and Company. That's a pretty big number. Netflix, exactly. You gave the headline there. So many subscribers, as Cowen and Company points out, have both the services. But Disney Plus, by all accounts, had 24 million subscribers by the end of November. One thing that I do want to mention is that some subscribers to Disney Plus are not paying. That is not to take anything away from Disney Plus and its launch. But, you know, if you have a Verizon unlimited data plan, you do get free Disney Plus for a year. Okay. So, okay. Well, that's, yeah. I mean, listen, if you're watching The Mandalorian or everything else and then you're addicted to that content, you stay with it next year. Do you keep Netflix as well, Scott?
Yeah, we are, Deirdre. And, you know, it's funny. I like the survey because it does give some depth as to what people may do when you guys talked about earlier, you know, a bundled streaming service or picking one or picking the other. It just always seems like in TV and cable and all this stuff, the best well-laid plans never execute. So my guess is half those people that responded they were going to cut Netflix end up keeping it.
Very probably.
Yeah, a big difference between what we do and what we say we'll do.
Totally.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? That's true. We got check Apple again, please. I know we check this a lot, but it is the most valuable American company, second in value only to Aramco. Apple is now worth about $1.25 trillion. We've got a Cowen analyst, an analyst at Cowen, calling it one of his favorite ideas for the new year. Tell me more.
Yeah, because it's all about 5G. When are they going to release the handsets for 5G-enabled phones? It's the 14th generation of iPhones. Analysts say they expect the fall of next year that we'll probably get at least 3 different phones. There's also been a lot of buzz about a new low-cost iPhone rumored to be called the SE2. That will be released early next year, they believe. And they're going to target what they call price-sensitive geographies, which is a nice way of saying poorer areas around the world to try and get people into their ecosystem with a lower-cost iPhone. And, of course, the wearables, that's also giving analysts all sorts of optimism for the new year. AirPods, Apple Watches, also Apple TV Plus and Apple Music. All of those bundled together, they think it's going to be... Those are gone.
Yes, they're gone. If you want them, you have to wait until the 3rd week of January, even if you order directly from Apple's website.
Now, Scott, as I understand it, the wearables division at Apple, that would be the watch and the AirPods, if you take the revenue from that division, that revenue would make that division one of the Fortune 200 companies. That's how big it is. So what's your call on Apple for 2020?
We like it. We've owned it for quite some time. You know, I think of the Cowen analyst, and it's like, okay, great, thanks. I think the guy's name was Krish. It's like, thanks, Krish. Where were you when the other 100 points were being made in the stock? You know, I think this is where the tough part of Apple really comes in, though, Stuart. As you know, we've talked about this on the show ad nauseum. Everybody likes Apple now, and everybody's talking about the wearables, the AirPods, which I do love. But it just seems like it's a little pricey here. I'd love to get a pullback and get in some more, but to me, I still like Apple. I think it's a good company. Just don't think we're going to see another 100 points, say, in the next, say, 6 to 8 months.
Okay, let me summarize where we are now, 13 minutes into the trading session. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up about 60 points, and a little earlier this morning we had a brand new all-time record high for the Nasdaq Composite. Let's be clear here. This is the day after the impeachment of the President of the United States. 2 articles of impeachment. It was not a unified Democrat Party that voted for those impeachment articles, but it was a unified Republican Party which voted against it. Right after the vote was taken, we had Speaker Pelosi suggesting that maybe she would delay sending the articles of impeachment to the Senate because she worried that there wouldn't be a fair trial. Very interesting, actually, because that just prolongs the agony of impeachment, if you ask me.
Of course.
And I don't think it's a good political strategy for the Speaker. In fact, I think the Speaker has opened the door for a Trump win next year. That's where. What do you think, Scott? That's where I'm coming from here.
Yeah, I agree. And it brings me back to something Deirdre said about 10 minutes ago, which was that Nancy Pelosi knew this was bad for the party, the impeachment process, or to start this whole thing. But she did, and probably felt some pressure and things like that was Deirdre's point, which I agree with. So, okay, if we know that, why drag this on then even further? Like, why keep the show going even more and upsetting America, showing people how your government works and how they spend taxpayer money and waste everybody's time? It's just a really odd thing to me.
What did you say?
Because it's all they've got. What are they going to do? Talk about the economy and how awful things are? They can't.
Maybe get a candidate together.
Yes,
The
true.
7 candidates, I think it's 7 candidates, will be on the debate stage tonight. It's the 6th Democrat debate. It will be tonight. All of those 7 candidates, when you put President Trump head-to-head with all of them, any of them, Trump wins. And I think that this impeachment process will enhance his margin of victory over the 7 people on the stage tonight.
Big backlash.
The only person I can see making a big difference here will be Mike Bloomberg.
They actually have a lot in common, Michael Bloomberg and President Trump. That is to say, they ran successful businesses. They are very much sort of not, you would argue the president was more of a household name.
Well, they both got a lot of money.
They both do have a lot of money. That does certainly help.
And therein, the relationship ends, I think.
But I think both, at least in the past, have been party agnostic, which does, to a certain extent, appeal to people who are sick of partisan politics.
Fair enough.